All right, here with Coach Steven Saenz in the San Antonio area. A lot of you will remember him from his throwing days down in the Valley, and then went off to Auburn. And you told me a few days ago you're now back in Texas. So explain how we've come full circle back into San Antonio now.
Okay, yeah. So went to college at Auburn. Had a pretty good stint there. And decided I wanted to get into coaching. So I went to the University of Michigan because I was still training for the Rio Olympics. I didn't quite get it, missed the standard by about 15 centimeters. I remember, yeah, a little tough. And then I said, okay, I think my throwing days are done. I was married at the time when at ULM. Really good stint there. Had Alton Clay, first team All-American, national runner-up in the weight throw. And so that kind of propelled me to get to Central Michigan. I was there for 2 years at ULM. Went to Central Michigan University for 2 years. It was awesome. Had a lot of great throwers, and then COVID hit, and COVID hit pretty bad. Actually, we were at nationals warming up for the weight throw with Logan Taggart, and they said, "All right, meet's over. Go home." The day before it started.
Oh my!
And we're like, and so the Big Ten dropped out, SEC dropped out, and then the smaller mid majors, like I was at Mac school. And so at the end, I kind of reevaluated and said, what do I want to do? I want to be a college coach because I had started having kids. I was traveling a lot and didn't quite see my family very much. And so I said, I'm going to become a teacher so I can still coach, but I can also be at home a little more. And so I came back to Texas because there's bigger airports, like for San Antonio or Austin to my wife's from Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
And then more opportunities for her because she was in the college system. She was an academic advisor. Okay. So San Antonio had a lot of schools. So came down here and got a job at Reagan High School where I'm now. Now my wife works at UTSA, so it all worked out great. And so spend time more with the family. Both have decent, really good jobs and can't complain. So that's how it all came about.
And you're a kindred spirit in that you're teaching English.
I am teaching English, even though I got my master's in biomechanics at Auburn. So it's a little bit of a change. But I like the very subjective English is and kind of explore the mind a little bit, which I enjoy.
That is true. So tell us, one of the reasons that we're talking today is you're giving back. I mean, you had a great career in high school and collegiately, and now it's time for you as a coach to give back. And you've organized something called the Alamo City Throws. Yep. How did this come about? What is your hope for the future, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, so I've always done camps. I did camps with Coach Howell in the Valley. I did camps when I was in Louisiana. I did camps when I was in Michigan. I did massive camps when I was in Ohio, or went to Ohio to camps with my wife's father, who did camps with 120 throwers. It was huge camps. So I came down here and just settling in the first year, I started thinking I want to do a camp. And my buddy Juan Rodriguez, who's running it with me, he said, "Hey, do you want to do a camp?" I'm like, "Yeah, I've been thinking about it. Let's do it." And so we bought the insurance, started organizing it, and then we got our name Alamo City Throws. And because there's not really not that I know of, another throwing person who does camps. There's clubs involved. There's club programs in the summer, but not just straight up camps. And I don't want to run a program in the summer. I don't think I have enough time for that, one. And two, that's a big commitment that I don't want to get into, but camps for sure. So we said, let's do a 2-day camp, maybe 2 times summer, once in the winter, 3 times a year, something along those lines, and give back to the community, see if we can kind of have kids come in who want to throw. Because I remember when I was younger, I went to Coach Howell's, Coach Dave Woolman's, all over the state, and did these camps, and it opened my eyes to throwing a little better. Not necessarily they were my coach, but just different views on how to throw. And that really got me going in my high school career. And so I kind of want to do that for kids here in San Antonio and across Texas if they want to come as well.
All right. So what dates are the camp?
So it's June 4th and 5th. So this upcoming weekend, both Saturday and Sunday.
Any age?
Well, we're focusing on middle high schoolers, but we are allowing some younger kids to come in. We're trying to keep it under 30. So we have about 20 kids right now signed up. So we have about 10 spots left.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a great camp. So we're gonna try to do another one depending on the um, reach that we get, and maybe in a few weeks. But for right now, we want to keep it smaller because this is the first camp we're running. Make sure we're doing it right. And the facility we have has 4 rings, 2 shot, 2 discus. So we have the facility for it. It's just we want to keep it a little smaller the first one.
Where is the camp if that you have this kind of facility?
Piper High School.
Piper High
It's
School.
it's 2 years brand new. We just did a quick Google map search and I said that looks like a good one. So I called, and my wife actually knows one of the guys there, and she asked him, "Hey, can we do a camp here?" A week later, he said, "Sure thing." So we got our facility. It's a beautiful facility. It's in the hill country with mountains rolling around, and it's really
Nice.
nice. Yeah.
Nice. When you see a group of youngsters, even if it's high school, and they're new to throwing,
Mhm.
what do you look for to know if this kid is going to have a future in the throws?
Okay, so first thing I look at is obviously physique. Are they built? I mean, if they're going to be a collegiate athlete, is that what you're asking me?
No, even if you get an 8-year-old or a 10-year-old,
Okay, yeah.
12-year-old, what are you looking for to know, all right, this kid, he'll be good in high school, or a high school kid, we can make something here.
I've made this argument before for parents to put their kids in baseball in something that involves using the hip. If a kid knows how to use their hip in the throws, and like when they're throwing a baseball, hitting a baseball bat, because that's all hip driven, then their chances of being better in the throws goes up exponentially because now they use their lower body. A lot of athletes we have coming out of high school haven't thrown before, and they'll come and just throw with their arm,
Right.
which some of them can throw. Some guys are big enough to throw 48, 52 feet in that range. But the ones who use their legs, the ones who use the power from the ground, like a baseball thrower or a baseball player or a hockey player or a golfer, that's when you have your better throwers. And when you have a little kid, 8 years old, using the hip first, that's like, okay, that kid's going to be okay. Even though they're not the biggest, they can outthrow bigger guys.
All right, so the camp is this weekend. Take us through the 2 days. What can the attendees expect?
So they're going to expect to get there 8 a.m. A little before that for registration. We're going to introduce the coaches. We're trying to get another coach right now just to kind of have a little more depth with our throws crew or our coaches. We're going to run them through drills. We're going to have stations for drills, and we'll teach them essentially like you can do drills and throwing, and without knowing why. We're going to tell them the reasons or the main things that people do wrong and how to correct them. Because if a coach tells an athlete, "Hey, throw higher," well, why am I not throwing high in the first place? It's not just a simple solution to throw higher. It's more so what's happening over here in the back of the ring is causing you to not throw high. So we got to fix the problem that's happening at the back of the ring. I think a lot of coaches mess that up, or they'll just give a cue without telling the issue. And so we're going to focus on the issues. So we can focus on the issues with the drills and tell them why we're doing them. Then they can go home and learn them because they're not going to come to this camp in a day or two and be perfect. They're
Of course.
taking this information and going home and utilizing that with their coaches, which we're inviting coaches to come as well to ask questions. But the first hour or so will be dedicated to drills and fixing errors. And then we're going to split off into groups. Now we're going to kind of place groups depending on skill level. So you won't be, a middle school throw with those 25 feet, won't be with a Michael Pinones who's coming to throw 66 feet.
Right.
And so that'd be a little bit of too much of a difference.
Of course.
Yeah, so we're going to have all 4 rings running with about 7 kids per ring. So you're going to get a lot of throws. And every about 45 minutes to an hour, you will switch coaches. So you can have different views from different coaches.
Okay.
And so, yeah.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
And then we'll have breaks, obviously, and we'll have waters, Gatorades, snacks, fruits out there for everybody. We'll Track Barn is sponsoring us. They're going to be out there selling merchandise. They'll be out there giving kids deals on implements and shoes. So it's going to be phenomenal. And then at the end of the camp on day 2, we're going to have a competition to see if you've improved and what you've learned so far.
That's awesome. I'm glad Track Barn's there. I've known Carl a long time. And
yeah, he's energetic. He's awesome.
He's a good advocate for our sport. There's no doubt about that. Let's go back to your own throwing days. What are some of your favorite memories from your days in the Valley?
For the high school, winning nationals indoors.
Okay.
Through 70, 71, 2 or 71, 3 indoors at Boston in Boston. It was funny. I tell that story, and I always say, "Man, I think I could have thrown a little further." And they're like, "Why?" Well, and I think it was the Armory, was it? I don't know where it was. I forget. But I was throwing in water was about 72, 73. But there was a wall that I was hitting. It was kind of in the left sector, and so I had to move my body to throw down the right sector, and I was kind of scared I was going to foul at the right side because I would drive a little more so than sweeping, and so I kind of not held back, but I was kind of like hesitant. That's still So that was pretty cool. That was one of my favorite stories. And then it's funny, after I got my ring size for the national championship, I sat down on the bleachers and threw my back out immediately. So I went home the next day. Yeah, I was in the bleachers, and all of a sudden I turned the wrong way, and my parents weren't there. I went by myself because they were working, and so I had no one with me there. And yeah, I threw my back out. So I was like in the hotel, like hobbling like an old man. So it's kind of funny. Right after winning like the biggest meet in the country.
I was going to say, we don't often hear of bleacher injuries.
Yeah, it was. I don't know why. I think I must have done something else throwing. Then it kind of hit me afterwards. Good thing I didn't do that when I was throwing. But
all right, here we go. Here's some trivia for you.
all right,
You are, as far as I can tell, you are one of 7 Texas men in the exclusive 70-200 club.
7,200.
70 in the shot, 200 in the disc.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Can you name any of the others?
Did Hayden Bailey throw 200 the discus?
Yes, he is on that club.
Ryan
You
Krauser
were on that club, so there's 5 more.
Yeah. So Ryan Krauser.
No, he's not a Texan. High school.
Oh, that's right. It's right. He was college. Michael Carter.
Yes. 2 of them are fairly recent, so.
Yeah, so Pippery.
Yes.
Pippery fairly recent. There was that.
Yeah, 2 of them are in college right now.
Yeah, last year, forget his name. He's doing A&M right now.
Yes, Bryce Foster.
I forget his name.
Bryce Foster.
Bryce Foster. He just did 1974, I think, at the regional meet. I saw that video. Animal. Absolutely unreal.
Really good lineman too.
Yeah, phenomenal. And one's in college right now?
Yes. He graduated. Well, he may not be. He graduated in high school about 17. So he might or might not be. And the other one's from the mid 90s.
I don't know.
Gabe Oladipo.
Oladipo, yep.
And Roger Russler.
I haven't heard of Russler. I heard Oladipo. He's at A&M too, isn't he?
Honestly, I don't remember. Russler was out of Round Rock.
Russler. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I only hit 200 twice. Once my junior year, I was throwing a Sherryland in the Valley, and there was a hurricane gusting wind. and my coach, Hal, he says, "Hey, throw out of bounds to the right sector." And so I lined up out of bounds, crushed it about 20 feet out of bounds, and the wind just brought it back in. And when you catch the wind in Texas, it's going to
yeah.
And just came about 3 feet in sector, and that was the Valley record in my first throw over 200. And then the other one was at Nationals my senior year. I threw 200 feet, almost even, or 200 feet 4 inches. And I was leading, and I was like, all right, I won this thing. I'm going to win Nationals. And Mason Finley comes out, throws a duck out of his hand. It just ugly throw. I'm like, okay, I won. It just kept flying like 211. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll lose to him.
Big guy out of Colorado, no doubt.
Yep, awesome, yeah.
We've both mentioned Coach Howell's name several times, obviously a major influence on you and a lot of throwers in the Valley. Mm-hmm. What have you taken from your days with him that are now into your coaching nuances at Reagan?
So Coach Howell was an amazing motivator. He can look you in the eye and be totally honest with you and saying what you can do. when I did his camps when I was in middle school, he said, "You're going to be state champion when you're in high school." And I was pretty decent. I threw the 1K like 190 at that point. The shot put was pretty rough, but I said, and he made me believe I could do it. And so then I worked hard to kind of live up to what he told me. And so whenever I see kids now, I say, "Hey," like I had a kid right now, Hector Ucha. I said, "Ucha, you can be a 180 thrower, a 190 thrower." And I'm trying to make him believe it, because once they believe it, they're going to then go out and do it. If you just say, "Well, you can maybe throw far," they're not going to have that same energy and drive to do it, because they will say, "Well, he doesn't believe in me." Coach Al believes in a lot of people. A lot of people are good in the Valley because he believes in them and makes them believe they're good. And that's why the Valley always has good throwers, because he just is that lifestyle and that mentality that he has with them. And so I try to do that myself. Not as good as him though, but I try to do it.
And there still are a lot of good throwers in the Valley.
Yep.
Mr. Saenz, it has been wonderful visiting with you. Let me give you the last word here. Give us another plug for the Alamo City Throws coming up this weekend.
All right. So Alamo City Throws, June 4th and 5th. It's going to be phenomenal. Great coaches. If you're, whether you're beginner or advanced, come on out. Drills, technique, a lot of throwing. It's going to be fun. Facilities are great, and hope to see you all out there. And make sure you guys register. We have a link that we can send out to you, or a link, follow Alamo City Throws on Twitter, and we're up there.
That's fantastic. Sir, it's great visiting with you again. I will get this out on social media soon, and we will help you get all 30 spots filled up.
Perfect. Thank you, sir.
Look forward to seeing you soon.
All right. Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.